He's a hard sleeper.
What's up, guys, and welcome to the Heron Heads podcast. My name is Julio, and I'm joined today by Dave and Jose. Chris will be joining us shortly, but thank you for tuning into the Heron Heads podcast, your first stop for all things Inter Miami, and we will be breaking down Inter Miami 1 versus Tigres 2 in the final group stage match of the Leagues Cup. This match was played in Houston and just wrapped up. So we will get into that shortly. But before we begin, a huge shout out to our chief Heron Heads, Matias, Chao, Abu, Ava, and Marivi. Thank you so much for your continued generous support. And if you'd like to support us on Patreon, you will find a link in the description wherever you are listening. And if you don't feel so inclined, that's okay. We appreciate you being here. For those of you watching live on YouTube, please hit the like and subscribe buttons if you guys are enjoying the show. Helps us out a ton and is totally free. And with that, guys, let's get into the match. What are your immediate takeaways, immediate reactions to what transpired?
I mean, my first reaction was it seemed like there was a lackluster effort throughout most of the match. Very lackadaisical passes and things like that. And then the last 20, 25 minutes of the match, you can see the intensity being turned on. And it's unfortunate because you do want to see that to be starting the match, and maybe it gives you a better chance to come away with a win. But we mentioned in our last show that this might have just been an effortless go just to kind of get guys to the next round, and they knew they were through. So yeah, I mean, I predicted a 3-1 loss, so it was 2-1 in this one. I'm not super surprised by the results. I mean, but you do expect a little more effort from the guys, but even with that being said, they were still in it. It was 1-1 late, and you can't be too upset with the results, especially knowing that you're through. So it's just the format of this tournament. You kind of take it.
Yeah, I agree totally with David. I mean, ultimately, it's exactly what it looked like. It's exactly what happened, right? At least it's from what we predicted earlier in the week, where we already had this in the bag. We already had the next round, in the bag. So it kind of looked like that, right? It kind of looked like we were playing like, okay, let's just go through the motions, and then we were like, hey, we're kind of in this. We can still take this, and then we're like, let's turn it up, and it brought us to a very good game. It left me honestly. I don't know if you guys feel like sad or mad about the outcome, but it kind of made me feel like, okay, we had nothing really to gain or anything. And I feel like every time someone plays against Inter Miami, they want to like show out. So it's like, um, yeah, we took a pretty good punch from them, and we almost won, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm like filled with confidence from the performance. I don't think I'm downtrodden either from the performance. To me, I don't think we looked very good, but I also don't think it's a byproduct of sort of meandering through the match. I think Tigres was doing a lot to make us play very poorly and make a lot of bad decisions. They pressed us really well, and they picked and chose very good times to bring a second defender over to the ball. That forced us to make some really poor passing. The really both goals were a byproduct of just bad awareness, bad composure, maybe a little bit of bad luck for Christoph, because the ball sort of got to him too fast for him to be like, I'm gonna clear this ball on the ground. I think the ball just came up on him really fast. But the first goal,
Do you think anybody else would have been different?
you could say maybe, but also his first choice would not have been to clear the ball in that way. It would always have been to clear it up and out. So he wasn't quick enough to react. You could say he was fresh on the pitch. So maybe he wasn't warm enough, like didn't have enough touches of the ball yet. But let's start with the first goal. The first goal, spectacular goal from Tigres. 12man on the broadcast was saying, possibly goal of the tournament so far, which I don't disagree. Just a ridiculous goal. And Toto, really with the poor clearance, like we want to talk about a poor clearance. I blame Toto more for his clearance than Christoph for his, because Toto had time to say, I'm going to do this clearance in this way and clear the ball in this way. And it was just done really poorly. And he fed it straight to a Tigres player at the top of the box, who then the ball bounces up around a couple times. And the guy just hit a ridiculous shot. A ridiculous shot. I mean, you said it in the Discord, Jose. If you saw that in FIFA, you'd quit.
Yeah, it was that's one of those shots where it's like, okay, like you're just on. It is what it is. There's nothing I can do there. But it's just unfortunate because like I feel like we were just lingering around, and I don't know about you guys, but it felt around the 80th minute, right before they got that second goal. I was like, and I think I said on the Discord, I was like, it looks like one of those games we're going to just steal, just because I felt like we had the momentum. I felt like we were just getting, I felt like we were getting things going.
Totally, and it shows you too what happens when Campana gets engaged in a way that it has confidence behind it. Seeing the ball hit the back of the net after the penalty, he was Campana. For the 10, 15 minutes after that, he was on. He was pressing. He was winning the ball back, making smart plays. He needed that so badly.
Showing skill on ball. It was a completely different player. And you wonder if moving forward, if we really start to kind of orchestrate things for him early in games just to get him engaged, because clearly when he's engaged, he's a completely different player. It's unfortunate that it takes that to bring it out of him. You kind of want that consistency in the player throughout, but if that's what it takes to get him to perform at the level that we need him to perform, then hell, let's figure it out. Do something to help him find the back of the net and maybe draw up plays that'll help him come free or something. I don't know, but yeah, it's frustrating seeing him play so well in the final 20 25 minutes just because he hit that penalty shot. I'm more frustrated than anything else.
Which is why it's also been frustrating watching him play this whole time, because we know he's capable of doing these sorts of things. Maybe not consistently for 90 minutes every single match, but you see those 20 minutes and you're like, how has he not been doing that, to your point? And also, where has this been the whole season? Like I want to say the last stretch of time, but it's been the whole season pretty much that he's been pretty poor run of form. Earned the penalty very well, I think. Some question as to whether or not it should have been a red card, but I think FIFA, generally speaking, and the officiating crew typically don't want to do the double jeopardy and give a red card and a penalty. That practice sort of has been left behind, but I mean, Campana was well in on goal with no one else in front of him, and he was clearly dragged down. There's some conversations as to whether that should have been red or not. I'm fine with it just being a yellow, because in hindsight, Campana scored the penalty anyways.
Yeah.
But just to mention it. Hey, Chris.
What's up, buddy?
Welcome back.
How's it going? Glad I made it on time.
How was your evening?
It was good. It was good. Watching a very, very exhilarating friendly.
Tell everyone where you've been, Chris.
Very exciting for the podcast, by the way.
Yeah, I was at they had a friendly here in Miami at Chase Stadium, a Red Bull or RB Leipzig, if I'm pronouncing correctly, and Wolves. They just had a friendly here in Chase Stadium, so I was able to go to the press box and cover it from the stadium. So it was a cool experience. Very exciting.
Very cool. Glad you made it home in one piece. The weather's been really poor down in South Florida, but it was okay-ish at the stadium. I was gonna say it's good that the game wasn't played here, but it seems to have held up for most of the match tonight.
Yeah, it got really bad towards the end. Like it looked like there was a curtain just passing through the stadium because you couldn't see anything. It was towards the end though. Most of the match was fine.
Yeah. Well, good. So
obviously Jose didn't get that bad weather. Look at that face. Jeez.
You might need some rain just to cool off that sunburn. My God.
It's been a nice day. But yeah, I mean, it's nice to have seen Campana do his thing. This is what this show has come to expect from him, right? Initially, we were like, always Campana, especially last year when it was between him and Joseph, and we're always like, no, I prefer Campana, which that was the case last year. This year, we haven't seen that Campana, and it's really like Dave and I always joke that he's like, this guy just reluctantly scores. He just does not want to score, and it's sad to see. Our 9, how he doesn't want to score, and I was happy he got it for him. I have my thoughts. You know how you said, Julio, like, oh, some people think some people think he should have gotten red. I think he kind of dove a little bit. I was like, this guy, he's like, I don't want any part of this shot.
No shot. Come on,
and he
like
just fell
Jose.
back. He's like, I don't want any.
Jose. Jokes aside, that was a clear tug of his jersey. Like, come on, let's be serious.
You have your thoughts. I have my thoughts.
Fair enough, I suppose.
You know, I was like, this guy got bailed out, and then he sunk it. And you know what? I'm gonna tell you right now, though, he did earn it. Up to that point, he was already starting with his skill moves. He was doing very well. He seemed very confident with the ball, moving it up the pitch. I felt like he was doing things that we haven't seen in a long time, and it was good to see. And I think, if anything, this is something that we could take moving forward. You know, if it's one of those things where it's like, well, like, are we sad that we didn't win, and we probably weren't taking this as serious as we could? You know what? I mean, if we could take one thing positive from this result, 2 things. I would say, first of all, I like Martinez in the back line.
Agreed.
Phenomenal. Chef's kiss. Then, as well as Campana just stepping up, another just fantastic. If we could do some kind of a 1-2 punch with him and Suarez, I think going forward, we got something.
Yeah. I totally agree. I think Martinez has been very good. I also gotta say, man, Yannick Bright continues to just be noticeable.
We can't take him off the pitch. He doesn't let us.
Noticeably good on the pitch. And when you notice that, we've mentioned this in the past, when you notice a player that plays the position he plays, that was a tongue twister. But if you notice a defensive midfielder play that way and not allow people to beat him one-on-one, constantly taking the ball away, constantly being a pest, that says a lot about that position of that player. That position is so hard to really show up on the stats sometimes, but to see it jump off the screen the way it does, the best of players do that. You know, when you talk about and I'm not saying that Yannick Bright is any of these players, but when you talk about like an N'Golo Kante, when you talk about Tony Cruz, when you talk about these players that are able to win the ball back, I mean, even Busquets, right? Like, just his awareness, his positioning, he's really just burgeoning into a star in front of our eyes. And I think it's one of the better success stories or more impressive success stories for an Inter Miami player that has been drafted and has come a bit of a way in a short span of time. I would say his development has been really fun to watch, really, over the past 2 or 3 months.
His development is what we hoped of Robbie Robinson at one point in our club history.
I mean, yeah, of course.
Yeah, that's a good example. You don't expect the MLS draft player to really do anything. I mean, it's not where most of the teams really look for. Yes, it happens every year or whatever, but at the end of the day, teams look for transfers. They look for these international players that have a lot more under their belt. And Yannick Bright is, like you said, Julio, is a great success story for us. He's playing lights out. He's annoying as hell out there on the pitch. I mean, he's all over the place, and he's also getting great interceptions at the right times and making the right pass forward as soon as he gets those interceptions, which is awesome to see, man. It's a big piece that we needed. And I think Upcode Series just said, when Messi and Suarez are back, we definitely need Bright to be in there because he's going to provide that extra defensive play that Messi and Suarez usually don't give to us. So he's going to be very important, I think, going forward in the starting lineup.
Which is so interesting because think of what a problem we have with the amount of good players that will have to fit into this lineup somehow. Because if we say, yeah, Messi and Suarez have to be in, which I totally agree with, then okay, Gressel goes where? Because Busquets has to stay in. We now have David Martinez, who fits in at center back along with Toto, who, despite having a really poor clearance that led to the first goal, is the starter. We have Chelo, who should be replaced for Ian Frey in like our best starting 11.
100%.
But where does Gressel go? Because Gressel is good. He was not very good tonight, in my opinion. But Gressel is good and deserves to be the starter. Bright also deserves to be a starter. So then we're talking about Redondo or Matias Rojas or Robert Taylor.
Please. So
and that's not even Jose. That's not even mentioning Diego Gomez or Benja.
So speaking of, that's very true, Diego Gomez. So what do you guys think were the men of the match / least of the match? He brought someone up.
We were still in the middle of a
Jose.
conversation. What are you doing? You're just changing the topic on us?
I'm gonna forget.
It was
Just write it down in your little notes.
Except for the substitute that came on for Tigres, who I assume is the goal scorer.
Yeah, he was. He was.
We're not talking about Tigres.
Okay, so Campana.
Campana. Correct.
And who was
7.6.
Uh-huh.
Yes, that was the man of the match for us.
Correct.
Least of the match.
Chelo and Robert Taylor.
Okay. Who do you say, Chris?
Christoph.
No. Dave?
Probably Chelo.
All right, so it was a tie. The all three were tugging for I want to be the worst. I want to be the worst. It was Chelo, it was Calendar, and it was Robert Taylor. 6.3. The worst. They suck.
I like playing this game with you, Jose, while also having SofaScore open.
So would you guys, I don't know if you guys spoken about it, would you guys blame Calendar on any of the 2 goals scored on him?
He was the least of the match.
You can't fault him really, because
I think that rating is crap.
Greater fault lies.
He sucked. Is what it is.
Greater fault lies with Toto and then with Christoph.
Yeah.
The first goal, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
The second goal, is just
what are you gonna do?
The defender left him out to dry.
I don't disagree.
The defender hung him out to dry. I don't think he did anything spectacular in this game.
No, he just had a couple regular saves, nothing
but
crazy.
I also don't think he
He didn't have a misstep.
We're not talking about Drake shouldn't have let that goal go in.
Right.
Yeah.
We're saying the defender shouldn't have done what he did to lead us to it.
And on top of the fact that Toto gave up a horrible turnover, the goal that was scored on Drake on that one was insane. I mean, it was a top corner. Not many goalkeepers could really get that. Let's be honest. It was amazing.
The angle was coming in. It was perfect.
Remember what we talked about, David? And then Chris was defiantly saying, I disagree. He cannot do it. It won't happen. It won't happen. Because I said we were looking at the highlights and we're like,
you're talking about Puebla. Give me a break.
Same thing. This is the same teams. They all do the same stuff. They're all.
You're talking Puebla so dangerous because they shoot so many goals and almost this and almost that. Get out of here. It's garbage.
Funny thing about almost is sometimes it goes in. Sometimes it works.
Yeah,
literally what happens.
I'm slightly surprised that Robert Taylor is rated as low as Chelo, because I do think for large stretches of this match, Robert Taylor was the only one giving us anything in attack. I don't know what the stats are saying about.
I think that a lot of the times that he pushed the ball up, he found himself in trouble, and instead of making a pass, he kind of tried to force it and found himself into a turnover worthy play. I think that was
Chelo or Robert Taylor?
I'm talking about Robert Taylor.
The conversation could apply to both.
But Robert Taylor first. He has that one shot that he loves to do, where he takes it up the side and then does a side dribble in the top of the penalty box and then tries to do the curved shot. Everybody knows he's going to do it, but he still tries to do it, and I think that caught him in trouble today when the defenders obviously knew that was coming, and it led to 3 turnovers. Then you have Chelo, who the entire first half was just terrible for Cello, in my opinion. His first half was god awful. And then he did play a little bit better in the second half, but that's only when you compare it to the first half. Overall, it wasn't a good game from Cello, finding himself out of pocket, turning the ball over. Again, the one thing that drives me the most insane about him is the fact that anytime that he's in the attacking third, it's an instant turnover. You're not going to get any kind of progress with the ball there. And he did it again. But then he was covering for somebody in the middle of the defense, and he played great. And this is why I'm saying if you need some alternative components to move around, you can have Ian Frey at right back, and you can put Cello at center back in a pinch, and I don't think you're gonna miss a beat too much, as opposed to putting Busquets back there. Not that Busquets is bad, but if you need more of that physicality and just athleticism, Cello brings that more than Busquets will, and you can put him in there over Noah Allen, a Sailor. Like there's it gives you more options. And I think that I just don't want to see him at right back anymore when you have a player like Ian Frey. If Ian Frey needs a breather, fine. But this match is one that Ian Frey probably should have started.
I agree. Yeah, and Cello had the big block, which is one of the plays I think you were referencing. That, I mean, otherwise it was a goal. And I don't remember if Drake should have been in position on that one. Maybe it's just like a positioning thing for Drake, just overall. But
I think he was in trouble. He was in trouble on offense. Cello.
yeah.
He
Oh
just
yeah,
got-
that's where he always finds his trouble.
his
Mhm.
issue's not on defense. I feel
At
like
all.
he's someone that if someone tries to ride that left wing side, we don't get that issue, guys. We really don't. When we had what's his name? I forgot his name already.
Yedlin.
Yedlin. When we had Yedlin. Yeah. When we had Yedlin, I always felt like we had that issue constantly, where it wasn't just like he would do what Cello did on offense, and he would suck on defense. So it was like I get nothing. I'm getting nothing from this guy.
That Houston match.
That
It
Houston
broke
match,
him. It broke
Forever,
Jose.
forever burned a hole in Jose's heart.
I swear, like
all it is.
that final
That's all
match,
it is.
that finals match, look, however much it hurt me, I can only imagine how much it hurt Yedlin. Just it must be like he must be thinking about it. My God, that guy ran past me again.
Probably hurt you more.
Probably.
Yeah, it cost a lot of money to go to that game, so yeah, it hurt me a lot.
Do you guys think that Robert Taylor isn't as good of fit in the system that we've been playing lately? Because I feel like he hasn't done a lot in a while. And I know Jose's going to like jump on this and be like, yeah, when was the last time he did anything? But just thinking about how disjointed he feels at times, he really feels like he has to push to get involved in the match. Whereas other players, it comes a little more fluidly within the system. I could say the same about Campana, by the way. Until he scored the goal, he just felt very disjointed. But I think that was a mental thing. But Robert Taylor, for a while, I don't know if the system suits him compared to like last year or years past. But he just feels very, I don't know, like he might not be a fit.
Go, Chris.
I just don't see anyone making or taking the reins of that left wing position, whether it's Robert Taylor, whether it's Rojas, whether it's Alfonso. It seems like anyone that's being placed there can't really take advantage of that position. And I don't know what it is. Maybe, like you said, maybe it's the system doesn't, or maybe it's Alba running up so much like he does. Who knows? Who knows what it is? But no one really takes that position and goes running with it. It just doesn't happen. And I don't know. I think with Robert Taylor, the other issue with taking him out is he's the only one that brings any sort of speed in our attack. Our team is slow overall for the most part. So even if you take him out, what are you going to do? We've seen Rojas out there, doesn't do anything. Alfonso is just, he's had his good games here and there, but yeah, I don't know. It's a tough position though for this team.
I'm not arguing to take him out.
Yeah.
Just for the record.
No, I think I agree with Icy Fox. It's the Alba effect. Robert Taylor has found success with us in the past without Alba. I think that's why. Yeah, he signed that extension, so everybody says the writing's on the wall. They're probably gonna trade him or sell him or something. But when you talk about who else would be good in that spot, that's why I think. I mean, we're gonna lose Gomez eventually with the sale to Brighton, but Gomez, when he plays that position, it's probably a perfect fit because it really grants Alba the freedom to push up in the attack, and then you have a adequate player who can backfill and kind of ease the transition to defense. And Gomez is not lost in the midfield as well. So I think that with the system that Tata is employing with this team, I think Gomez is probably the best fit when all the pieces are in. But there's no perfect answer at that spot. We don't, at least on the roster, there is no perfect player for that position.
I think this is why I was excited when I was hearing about Angel Di Maria, because I do think it's a player issue. I don't think it's an Alba issue. I'm gonna tell you why. Because you're telling me if you put Angel Di Maria in that spot where Robert Taylor's playing, you're telling me he's gonna struggle. I don't think so. But also, I think it's a different caliber player.
I mean, yeah, I was gonna say
But-
Angel
but-
Di Maria is a world class.
Correct. Well, but having
Winger,
said that, but having said that, is it the system or is it the player?
Could be a little bit of both.
Could be a little bit of both, but I think you put it in a better player. Maybe they are capable of doing what is being asked. You know what I'm saying? I don't see the same issues on the right. You know, like on the right wing side. Mike, you know what? You know, Mike, we're having a nice conversation. You know, I would like to think he's coming, but
By the
but
way, he's
but-
not coming for sure. Like for sure, he's not coming.
but I wasn't talking about like he's coming or whatever. My point was that's the reason why I was excited when the talks were about us getting a proper left wing. I don't think RT is a proper left wing. I don't think he works in our system. He doesn't. But it's not because of the system. I think people. I think so far with Messi being out, one thing we've learned is that Tata's not as incapable as we think. Mike V, go ahead, write Tata out. Go ahead. I want to see it. But he's done pretty well. Hate to say it, he's done pretty well. I don't know if RT is the answer at at the left wing position, and he's never gonna be. It is what it is. Yeah, you guys keep wondering where is he? Where is he? I don't know. I've never seen him.
Just for the record, Angel Di Maria is a career-long right winger, but just
He could play left wing.
I'm sure he could. certainly better than myself.
Or in Argentina, I think he plays left wing.
So
I don't know, but he has that 2-star weak foot on FIFA. So I don't know. I don't know if you want to switch him to the other side.
Yeah, RT has 1 star.
Any Hoosers, back to the game, and we won the possession battle. So that's usually a bad sign for us because that usually means we're either chasing or not doing anything with the ball. But it felt like there were long stretches, especially in the first half, that Tigres really controlled the pace. And again, it goes back. I think they were pressing us really well. I think we had a really hard time advancing the ball. Even at the end, they sort of turned on the press again, deep into stoppage time. And it was like, there's a minute left. Let's get the ball forward. And we turned the ball over because they were pressing us so well. So I think a lot of credit does need to go to Tigres. I don't think they, despite not starting Gignac and some of their other players, I don't think that they took this match as sort of just a test run. I think they wanted to win. And like you mentioned, Jose, everyone kind of shows up against Inter Miami just to prove a point. I also don't think Inter Miami took it as a exhibition. You know, I think they did take it as sort of a test run against what could be a potential opponent in just a couple weeks. So I think overall it was a good showing.
I do think we have another lever. We have another.
Well, certainly. We're also missing 3 potential starters: Gomez, Messi, and Suarez.
Next match,
Yeah.
Gomez should be back next match. Benja should be back next match. So we're gonna start getting our reinforcements back. Messi, who knows when he's gonna be back? We still don't know that. But yeah, I mean, we're gonna start getting these guys back, and it's gonna make a big difference. We played okay tonight. Our defense played. To me, yes, they scored 2 goals, but I thought our defense played very well. Our attack was kind of weak today. Some flashes, but overall, I think they had an okay game against a very, very good opponent at that.
Yeah, I thought generally, I mean, 2 really poor moments from Inter Miami, 1 brilliant goal, 1 goal that like most people should score given where he got the ball. And honestly, we got lucky on 1 one other opportunity where the guy cut in and took too long to shoot. But generally speaking, I think the defense played well. Definitely caught in transition a couple times, and the flanks are a huge problem as always because of the way we play with our wingbacks. But I mean we're missing three really key players that are probably among the top in their position groups in the League's Cup. So it doesn't bring any concern to me, I guess, is the point I'm trying to make.
And something to keep in mind, and it's kind of like what Julio said. When we were talking about just in general, our team, we're going to be getting a lot of players back, like Chris said before. And when we're talking about Puebla, remember that we were talking about, like you asked me, do I think that we're going to get past the first round? And I said, yeah, I think we will. I think the thing that was worrisome to me is when Messi will come back, right? And that's still in the air. Nothing's changed really, but we're getting a lot of guys back from the Olympics, and perhaps that might be enough. You know, I think versus Pachuca and Toronto, I think we can get by with inserting Gomez and Benja.
I just hope we play Toronto.
Yeah, if we play Toronto, it's at home, which I would feel
On the
so
broadcast-
confident about getting past them.
On the broadcast,
I think either match is at home. Either team is at home, I believe.
Yes. I think we get at home.
I'd still take Toronto as weaker opposition in my
100%.
mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would take Toronto all day, every day.
I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't care. I don't think they scare me.
I tend to agree with you.
Yeah, I think we're fine. I think we're Toronto. Yeah, I agree that they're less, worrisome. We just played them not too long ago, right? Or was it Montreal? I think it was Toronto.
We've played Toronto. Yeah, we played Toronto recently, within the last 3 or 4 weeks.
And I think it was without Messi as well. So similar style of play. Yeah. So yeah, I'm that for sure would be a saving grace. But I kind of like playing these random teams. Pachuca, they haven't seen us either. How about that? They haven't seen us. They don't know Campana. You just see
man,
you just see this Campana guy.
I would love for Campana to carry this form now, just for a little bit.
He should have had a brace today.
He really scored before, man. He's done this before where he scored and we're like, oh, maybe he's back when he's back, and then he's back to.
It wasn't about.
I'm just saying, I hope he carries it. I'm not saying he's going to.
For me,
I'm not gonna hold my breath.
Yeah,
I don't disagree, but I liked that he felt part of the team, kind of part of the rhythm of the game, and I haven't seen that. Right, there's a game that he had a brace, and I was like, this is a fake brace. He didn't want it,
Yeah, I think it also, to an extent, helps that even after he scored, we weren't winning. Right, we were tied, and then we were chasing because they scored shortly thereafter. So I think he was hungry for the next goal. He came really close to scoring that second one, and he was feeling it, man. He knew he was getting in dangerous positions. I mean, the ball he played to Afonso, who then messed up. I mean, that flick was nice. He had a couple just hustle plays, getting in good spots. I'm hopeful.
We won the hustle stats today, by the way. That seems to be a trend. That at this point, it's a trend. It's something that we can expect going. I feel like
that's straight. That's the Yannick Bright category.
Correct, and that and it's funny. At one point, we were always looking at possession in the sense of like, that's Messi category, right? Where we want to have more possession, more tiki taka. But I don't see that as our strategy anymore. I feel like we've said, nah, that's not us anymore. And just go after 50-50 balls. It could be a tweak that's a tweak. Enjoy, Mike. I'm gonna keep on.
Not a full tinker, but just a tweak.
Just a tweak.
Speaking of,
we got a Tata tweak and a Tata full on tinker.
Let's talk about the Tata tweak that he made tonight in the starting lineup with more positioning rather than personnel, but moving Rojas to right wing and Gressel to left center mid. I thought that generally was not good.
I don't know why he would do that.
I don't know.
What do we gain from doing that? I don't know. We never know what he's thinking, but yeah, I don't know what we gain from that. I don't see it. No idea. Both players were playing good at those positions, and then you switch them. I don't know.
It seems like it seems on top of that, they gave some good continuity with the club. It just it made no sense to me.
And I think to the point we were making earlier, Gressel supplements Chelo and helps him. Both can certainly get caught up the pitch at the same time, but compared to Rojas, Gressel does have more defensive awareness, composure, understanding compared to Rojas. And Rojas also had a hard time getting into the match as well. You know, even Twelman on the broadcast was saying, I haven't seen Rojas. You know, Rojas hasn't found himself in space as much as he used to. So, yeah, I don't understand sort of the mentality or the reasoning why that change was done, but I think that's a quick experiment that we move on from, and hopefully we never see it again, because I think I think that was a big failure as far as the tactics go.
Agreed. And the subs, continue the Tata talk, the subs that he first made were good. I think they were positive for the most part. And then the last sub he just made, was it the last sub that Christoph came in? The second to last.
When he made the first substitution package, the quadruple sub, to me that was now I no longer care about this match.
That felt like the white flag, yeah.
Totally. That was like let me rotate all these guys out. We took
far from the truth.
I mean, it ended up working. I mean, but the sport itself sort of lends itself to that being able to happen, because it took one goal from a penalty. And yes, the penalty was earned well, and maybe he could have scored if he wasn't pulled down. But at the end of the day, it took one shot to get us back into the match, and it could have happened with anyone on the pitch. So to me, it was totally a white flag moment when he made the quadruple sub. You're muted, Jose.
Also, he taking Jordi Alba out too. Like that's the one move in that flurry of substitutions. And even like Martinez, fine, kind of new to the club. I kind of understand that one a little bit.
There's like 8 minutes left.
Once you take Jordi Alba out, you're like, that's a clear downgrade.
And I didn't feel like he was playing bad either. I thought he was getting in on the attack. I think what sucks is that these guys that were inserted as well. First of all, David Ruiz, I felt like he was constantly given the ball in space, and I don't know what did he ever make any proper insertion plays? I never felt like he did anything where he grabbed the game and said, "Okay, let's go."
He made one good play, and it was defensive, and he he was
open.
Didn't give the ball away.
I feel like he was open. He was open constantly. Like every time he got the ball, he was just in space. Which with Rojas, how I think he got it. How many times in space did he get it open? Not very often, you know. I that's another guy I'm kind of down on as well. Just David Ruiz.
Yeah, I mean, we've all been down on him. He's been as lost, if not more so, than Campana. So, I mean, yeah, like all these players, you want them to get going, and that's sort of the reason why you throw them in, because maybe they're signs of life. So, I think the subs were fine and generally good. You know, Christoph obviously came in and gave up the last goal. You know, regardless of whether the ball came up on him too quickly or not. At the end of the day, it was the ball came off his foot and went straight to the other player in the box. And what are you going to do from there?
I know. Obviously, it's his job to block these shots and play defense, obviously, as poorly as I think he does. But the ball was going, I'm pretty sure it was going straight to Drake Callender, so it was almost like an unnecessary block at that. It's hard to say. He's doing his job. It's a very instinctual thing. It's part of the game, but that ball was going straight to Drake Callender, and it was maybe unnecessary, but
it's something he could have done. I mean, I don't disagree with you. I don't think he's a great player, but I don't know if I agree with Julio. He said it earlier today, because you know you're supposed to clear it, you know, and he did. It just happened to hit the guy's foot. It was like, I was like, wow, another play that would make me quit. You know, if I play FIFA, each of those goals, I was like, all right, I don't want to play anymore.
The worst part is that would definitely be something that the AI would do. Just give it straight to the other player.
So yeah, I don't know. And I know you said earlier, like, who else would we have subbed in? And I know, I get it. There's not a lot to really do there, but I don't know.
I would say more often than not.
So he would have been lowered to the ground.
I would say more often than not, Christoph clears that ball properly. I think the ball just ate him up and got on him way too quickly. and he just didn't have the quick twitch reflex to get it out.
Frey, I don't think they want to play Frey at center back. We haven't seen it.
I also don't think they want to play Frey if they don't have to.
Yeah, that too. That too. Yeah.
Like needlessly throwing him in there for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Probably not.
He's our, like crackless, open. What happened?
Yeah,
He left.
break case and
Break case,
of
yeah.
emergency.
You know what I mean?
Crack.
Crackless
Crack
open. What? I don't know.
Jose's been out in the sun too much.
Obviously.
Cracking.
Oh man! So next match will be next Saturday or next Sunday. I guess we'll find out scheduling once.
No, I think it's Thursday is what I heard. No,
Thursday.
pretty sure it's
I
Thursday.
assume everything will be finalized once we know the results of tomorrow's matches. But it'll be either Toronto or Pachuca. I think both are good matchups for us. I think we would be favorites in both of those. And once we know our opponent, we'll knock out a preview for everyone. So be sure to subscribe, follow us on social medias at the Heron Heads on X, Instagram, and TikTok. And
It's Thursday confirmed. I just
okay, there you go. Confirmed.
Yeah.
It is Thursday against either Toronto or Pachuca.
But by the way, I went today to a restaurant that is very popular apparently with Messi and his family. I went there because I had seen that he had gone. It's called the Amalfi Lama in North Miami. Great place. I happened to sit in Messi's family's table. It literally says Messi's family's table. So I'm definitely gonna send it. We're gonna put it on Instagram. You guys are gonna see. I was there. I was with his family.
Are you gonna put it on Instagram?
Jose etched and Jose next to Messi's family table.
Correct.
And
Correct.
Jose.
Excellent empanadas, excellent steak. Totally recommended. My son ate pizza. I ate some steak and empanadas. Great time.
Fantastic. There you go. There you have it. If anyone ever needs restaurant suggestions or reviews, just ask Jose. He's your guy.
Elite Yelper, right?
He's gonna start his own podcast about food critiquing.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Restaurants.
just Mike. Mike didn't start his own podcast about that out.
Jose's gonna be a special guest.
That's right. Every week. Anything else you guys want to add for this match?
Nope.
Alrighty, guys.
Good.
Well, perfect. Thank you guys for joining us on the Heron Heads podcast, your first stop for all things Inter Miami, and we will catch you on the preview episode of the knockout stage of the Leagues Cup. So we'll see you then.
Thank you.